Florida is home to 17.1 million acres of forest, providing scenic beauty, habitat for countless species, and even recreational and economic benefits. For over 50 years, Jack Vogel has dedicated himself to the conservation of these forests. Born John Thomas Vogel in Dade City, Florida, Jack was the third child of Al and Lucinda Vogel. Growing up in the small town of San Antonio, he developed a deep love for the outdoors, spending much of his free time hunting and fishing throughout Pasco County.
I grew up in a little small German Catholic town, and it was had a lot of people looking out for you to make sure you didn't get off your sideboards on your traveling to adulthood. And of course, San Antonio being a very, very rural and agricultural area, my tendency was to understand and love the outdoors, and that started me on my way to what I wanted to do as a career. So I went to St. Leo University for 2 years, and then transferred to the University of Florida as a junior, and got into the School of Forestry, and quickly found professors there that were just such great mentors, and I just fell all over myself admiring their dedication to the profession of forestry.
In 1969, he graduated with his bachelor's degree in Forest Resources and Conservation. He accepted a job with the Division of Forestry and headed to Miami.
I was the first urban forester in the state of Florida. The Division of Forestry at that time embarked on an urban forestry program where we would provide forestry and silvicultural leanings towards the urban forest.
While in Miami, Jack reconnected with a young woman named Jeannie Seemayer. The two had previously dated in college, but had since fallen out of touch. They began seeing each other again, and in 1973 were married. The couple moved north, and Jack briefly took a job in Tallahassee with the Florida Forestry Association, and then settled in San Antonio, where Jack developed a new business with his friend Tom Maston.
I met Tom Maston through the Division of Forestry, and Tom was probably the second urban forester in the state. Of course, we knew each other working for the Division of Forestry. I actually worked out of the same district office down there, and Tom and I got to be friends. And then I came up with this idea of the consulting business, which I didn't know too much about, and probably if I'd known a little bit more, I might have been afraid to try it.
Together, Jack and Tom founded Natural Resource Planning Services in 1974, which represented a novel business model at the time.
Traditionally, professional forestry services always came free to landowners through the state, through the Forestry Service, or through the federal government. And that's kind of why it was strange. I mean, how are you going to go out and make a living selling services that are provided for free? And you do it by doing it better and doing it well and doing it efficiently.
Over 50 years later, NRPS has become one of the largest forestry consultancies in the state, operating from 3 locations and managing over 750,000 acres of forest land. Aside from his work with NRPS, Jack stays active in his local community. He has long served on the board of directors of San Antonio Citizens Federal Credit Union, works alongside Commissioner Simpson on the Pasco County Farm Bureau, and is a devoted member of the St. Anthony of Padua Catholic Church. His impact goes well beyond Pasco County, though, through his continued involvement with organizations such as the Florida Forestry Association and the Society of American Foresters. In 1987, he became the youngest person ever elected president of the Florida Forestry Association, and returned in 2006 as the only person ever elected twice.
He and I both spent many hours of our efforts in behalf of the resource in Florida, but especially through the Florida Forestry Association. And then later we started the Florida Forestry Foundation. We needed another vehicle to raise funds and to assure better financial longevity. With the foundation, we could reach a much broader audience. Along the way, we had a blast. We had a lot of fun.
Jack has maintained a strong relationship with his alma mater and takes every opportunity to give back to the university, to which he credits his success. Perhaps most notably, Jack led the fundraising effort to rebuild the Learning Center in the Austin Cary Forest after the original burned down.
I was the director, and Jack was in my office talking me into stuff that I probably normally wouldn't have considered something that we could do as a state agency. Jack was key. They would not have been able to come up with the funding to rebuild that. And the benefit of it is now is that every one of the foresters that go through UF spend a tremendous time there. They've got a great classroom, and it's his living legacy of what he helped do there.
Jack is a longtime supporter of youth in agriculture and served on the Florida 4-H Foundation Board of Directors. His contributions garnered the attention of Commissioner Adam Putnam, who, in 2014, appointed Jack to the Florida State Fair Board.
The State Fair is the showcase of thousands of kids' hard work for the entire year. And it deserved a board that was rooted in agriculture and had a heart for those 4-H and FFA kids who work so hard. And Jack fit the bill perfectly. He was part of a fantastic board that we put together, and I'm glad that he's still willing to be on it.
Jack has devoted himself to various conservation efforts, having sat on the Withlacoochee River Basin Board and the Florida DEP's Acquisition and Restoration Council. He also played an influential role in the development of the first best management practices for a commodity crop in the nation.
We became a kind of a model for that throughout the rest of the country, and I'm very proud of this. The industry has done a really good job. In fact, our monitoring system that we have in place has always declared the forestry industry to be within 94 to 99% in compliance with the regulations, and something to be very, very proud of.
Jack was one of the earliest advocates for the Conservation Easement Program, through which landowners are compensated for relinquishing their land's development rights while retaining ownership and the right to produce commodities. This enables landowners to profit from preservation rather than development.
People are moving to Florida like crazy, 1,000 people a day. And so that puts tremendous pressure on every part of Florida. It's not just South Florida or Central Florida. There's a lot of pressure in North Florida, which is a traditional timber basket, if you will, of Florida. And Jack has just been a super ambassador, an advocate for the use of easements as a tool to protect and preserve part of Florida that we all love.
Aside from being a conservationist, Jack is an outdoorsman to his core, having hunted and fished all over North America.
I think first and foremost, he's an outdoorsman. He loves to fish, he loves to hunt. He loves to do his work while he's doing that.
I've told him that, we all want to be Jack when we grow up. Just go hunt and fish all the time and somehow still make money.
There were some certain things that I read about when I was a child in outdoor life, and those things just triggered something in me, and I still hold that passion desperately, and my wife will tell you maybe too much.
Working alongside Jack is his son, Jay.
So when I was first starting this business, I was in the woods all the time, and I had a lot to learn. Jay, being a little tyke, he went with me everywhere. He's just a bright young man, and so it's evolved to where the second generation is here, and maybe hopefully one day there'll be a third. I've had many friends get inducted in it, but never entered my mind that I would be worthy of such an honor. I'll tell you what, it's one of the crowning achievements in my career. I never would have thought that I would be included in that fraternity, and I'm so proud of that.